Alright, everyone, remember years and years ago when if you declared, hey, I think Roundup, this glyphosate material that they're using as a pesticide, might be problematic for, different biomes. I think it might be problematic for the sort of food webs that are involved with pollinators. You were generally called a conspiracy theorist. They'd say, no, 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 no. The colony collapses, it's related to a fungus or it's related to something else. It had nothing to do with pesticides. Don't worry, we spray bees down with it all the time. They love it, they get high off it or some shit. They enjoy it a lot. And that was sort of the line that was parroted over and over about the Roundup products that are used very widely. Like, from home gardeners, I don't use it. I don't get it anywhere near my garden. I have never used pesticide. I've never used an herbicide or a fungicide, and they're not necessary for home gardening or small farming. I understand that commercial farming requires, and this is a requirement, it does require the deploying of, mechanical farming, of chemical fertilizers, of something, because you're monoculturing for pesticide. I think we should look at the mechanical side of things and develop machines that can allow you to companion plant so that you don't have these zones where it's like nothing but corn as far as the eye can see. If you're in an area where there's nothing but corn, which doesn't need a pollinator in the first place, yeah, you're going to have a lower concentration of bees than you would otherwise have. If you companion plant, it's a lot healthier, it's better for the soil. It can be done. One field can grow corn and beans. It is possible. It's been done for a long time. It's just a matter of having the willpower to develop a machine that can plant them and harvest them side by side effortlessly. That's all you have to do. And with drones and GPS technology, 10 times easier. We should start doing that. You wouldn't have as many problems. By lowering the concentration of any given species within an area, you cut down its likelihood of disease. You cut down the likelihood of some fucking locust swarm destroying everything. You cut down on the risk of virtually every problem, and you ultimately lower cost. But everyone was called crazy years ago. I can remember when we were talking about this back here in Vermont. It's a big thing because we're very much cued into nature because most of the state's forested and farmed anyway. Forest and farm is like 99% of our state's land area, to tell the truth. It's very rural in most areas. So we sort of live in symbiosis with these things. And so it's been a big thing with that sort of environmental hippie-trippy, we live in the backwoods mentality. Everyone's been talking all along about colony collapse in bees. Now, a lot of people wanted to say that it was one cause. And what I'd said is it's probably multiple causes, pesticide being the most obvious. And it turns out, according to UT Austin now, we're getting evidence that what's happening is that the glyphosate is affecting the gut bacteria, which is sort of a whole new field within humans and within animals. It's lowering their resistance to pathogens and to other poisons, which means that that's probably what's causing them to slowly die off in areas that are using glyphosate. What happens is it affects their gut bacteria. The bee itself isn't killed, but their gut bacteria is reduced. Therefore, they're getting infected by those same funguses and bacteria that also were being blamed at the time. So it's simply lowering their immunity. Now, what we should do is ban the use of glyphosate. I mean, completely ban. Those chemicals should not be used if they're linked to such a drastic thing as, hey, all the pollinators are gone. Bye-bye to all of your crops. I think that might be a little bit of a problem. Now they're trying to develop crops that make their own pesticide. I think that's about the most shitty idea you can possibly think of. And I suppose in a way it might be better than spraying it everywhere. But I think people indeed were farming on a mechanical and large scale before these existed. It was possible to do. I don't know what changed. All of a sudden the world's a different place and it's impossible to grow vegetables without spraying them with 10 different chemicals. I do it all the time, but apparently everyone else has problems with it. I must have 10 green thumbs or something. Green thumbs, green fingers, and green toes. I don't get it. Some people are in denial. They think it's like they think nuclear is necessary. Oh, without that, it'd be 10 times worse. Well, no, not really, but now, you have the nuclear cult, and then you have the pesticide cult that thinks, well, we must farm the same way that we've been farming for the last half century. What else could we possibly do? Companion planting, organic, biocharcoal. Oh my God, none of those things could possibly work. And they're being tested actively in universities today. They can work. I've seen them work. I've used some of these methods myself. It's totally possible. People have been farming on a commercial basis for 1,000 years. It's not that difficult. It's really, a lot of people overthink it. They think that they need to micromanage everything in order to have a good crop. I've never had a problem other than late year blight in the tomatoes and a few other things. Is really no problem with, non-pesticide, non-fungicide, non-herbicide, not spraying, not even using like neem oil and organic shit. I don't even bother spraying like hot pepper sauce to keep some of the rodents out or something. It's not necessary. It really isn't. As long as you are planting the right way, at the very least, it cuts down on all the disease and other problems till the end of the year when it doesn't matter so much anyway. Unless you're trying to, again, unless it's massive scale commercial production, in which case there are natural alternatives to virtually anything on the market that's processed in nature. Chemical fertilizers, derived from, refined materials or whatever, made in a lab as opposed to simply mined like azomite or something like that. Or taken, dredged up out of the ocean, kelp meal. Compost tea. Compost tea is great. I want to make one of those things where you can have like a worm colony, actually. I want to have a worm composter. Some great stuff. We could have such a cool world. We could have like a cyberpunk world. Really, where we have like, computers everywhere, but also like really organic shit. It'd be like hobbits with lasers. I think that'd be the best of all worlds. But Roundup is killing bees, so we now know that. There's now solid evidence for it. It's not a conspiracy theory any longer. That's about all. Peace out.